This is going to be pretty tame compared with a lot of the first time experiences we've heard. We've also been talking more about people watching us live on cams than in person, and finally came around to the idea of going to a swingers club after reading that most of them have rooms where people like to watch. We also have some fantasies about other people joining in soft swap scenarios but are going slowly. We found a local swingers club but couldn't really find that much about it. It was pretty cheap, so we thought we'd at least go see what it was like. The party was from 8 p.m.-4 a.m. and we showed up just before 11, taking a few shots in the parking lot before we went in for some liquid courage. There were about 40 people there in one pretty large room with different areas and an elevated center used as a dance floor. There were lots of couches and tables, one of which had drinks and snacks. There was also a playroom off to the side that was completely empty except for 3 mattresses on the floor and a chair in the middle of the room. There were already people on the beds and a woman on the chair, completely naked, getting slowly whipped by a fully clothed guy. The first thing we noticed was that we were way below the average age of everyone there, which was probably 45-50. As we watched, there seemed to be a lot of little cliques and no one really talked to us as we walked around. We finally just picked a spot to sit a few chairs down from the only other couple there close to our age and watched for a while. The music was terrible and crackly, but the environment overall seemed pretty low-key. A worry my wife had was that she would feel threatened by lots of attractive women giving me attention, but that was definitely not a problem once we were there. Not only did we feel almost invisible. Not sure how to say this delicately. We were in much better shape than pretty much everyone there. It was cool to see so many people so comfortable with their bodies when they didn't at all meet the traditional norms of people who should. Sometimes a few people would get up and dance, take some clothes off, then laugh and go talk to more people. For us, the most foreign thing was how people kept being put in a chair for a session getting whipped, at first starting slowly and rhythmically up and down their back and asked to eventually what would really seem to hurt. One woman stood and held onto a pole while he wailed on her breasts and upwards on her pussy. It seemed almost brutal, but my wife loved how at the end they held each other tenderly and the guy really took care of the woman, helping her walk away and get dressed. It was as if they had just went through something personal and painful together and seemed almost sweet. We were really surprised. We finally struck up a conversation with the couple next to us, and it was their first time to a club too. Hearing their stories, they were definitely more into cuckold stuff, with him setting her up with guys from Craigslist to come over while he watched. They were really nice, and while I had run to the bathroom they asked my wife if we wanted to come back to their hotel room for drinks. She told me when I got back and seemed nervous yet excited about it. We made it clear that we were only into soft swinging and they said there were no expectations at all and not to worry. It was nearly 2 a.m. by this point and the club had emptied out a lot. One woman had her legs wrapped around a guy's head, and there was a woman straddling a guy's lap right in front of us, joking with each other about why he wouldn't tell her his name while they were making out. That was completely alien to me. Back in the other couple's hotel room there was a bit of a tense anticipation in the air, and I wasn't really sure what was going to happen. My wife had told me she was comfortable with them but wasn't sure what she wanted to do with an audience yet, and we would just play it as we went. Having read about so many failed male porn star wannabes, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to perform with real people watching, but anytime my wife grabbed me that immediately wasn't a problem. The girls were hungry, so the guys went out to grab something nearby while the girls talked, but just after I got back things got bad. My wife felt very sick suddenly and had to head to the bathroom. We had shared almost an entire bottle of vodka and mixed drinks over the last 4 hours. She felt really bad and I apologized to the other couple and took her home. Maybe it was nerves, being anxious, or the alcohol, but it wasn't going to happen. The next morning we talked about it and she was frustrated because she was having a good time and felt great until that moment. Talking about it all got us excited again, and there was a lot of holding each other down, hair pulling, until we had both finished. She kept kissing me afterwards until I was hard again, then got on top and rode me until she came again. She wants to go again to another club in the city and I'm excited about the idea too. We wanted to take it slowly and see how the vibe was to see if we could go further next time, and definitely will be going for it.
Click a like and subscribe my channel. More interesting videos ahead.